Before I want go on, I first and foremost want to give you an insight of what has happened in Borno State before, which is very important. Then I should dwell into the current situation in Borno State, what have we achieved, and others. The insurgency has triggered acute humanitarian and post-displacement crisis with devastating social and economic impact on the population, further deepening fragility and poverty in the Northeast sub-region. The outcome of the Recovery and Peace-Building Assessment by the World Bank, EU, and UN revealed that the total sum of about $6.9 billion was lost as a result of the insurgency in the entire northeastern state. Out of this, Borno State accounts for over 2/3%. The insurgents have destroyed about 5,000 classrooms in Borno State. About 800 municipal buildings were destroyed, comprising of local government secretariat, prisons, traditional rulers' buildings, among others. They destroyed about 713 energy distribution lines. Furthermore, they destroyed about 1,600 water sources. In addition to this one, we harvested a total number of about 49,311 widows and about 49,917 orphans. These are official figures. The unofficial figures are more than this. Before then, out of the 27 local governments that we have in Borno State, at a time, about 22 of the local governments are under the control of the Boko Haram insurgents. In Borno State again, there was a time we had only one access road to Maiduguri, which is from Kano to Maiduguri. The road between Maiduguri to Damboa was closed. The road between Maiduguri to Goza was closed. The road between Maiduguri to Ngala was closed. The road between Maiduguri to Mongono, Damasak were all closed. We were left with only one major road. The magnitude of the destructions was so scary. Then, what is the status now in Borno State? Today, the gradual return of peace and a marked reduction of cases of insecurity in Borno State and major parts of the northeastern region have been attributed to the commitment and collaboration on the part of the state and federal government. I want to say something categorically here, that one of the major reasons why we have been succeeding in the Northeast, in particular in Borno State, is because of one major fundamental thing. There was never a time I requested to see Mr. President, and I was denied access. This is something very important. Never a time. In fact, sometime I do used to call Ambassador Kazaure on landing in Abuja whenever I had serious security situations in Borno State. Within the next 10-15 minutes, he will speak to Mr. President, and Mr. President will give me access to see him. And this has contributed a lot in ensuring gradual return of peace and stability to Borno State. Significant amount of resources has been injected into the implementation of the security strategies, financial, material, logistics, and motivational. The state government has shown a great commitment in the relocation of internally displaced persons, with farming activities picking up in most parts of the state. It is worthy of note that with the recent mass surrendering of Boko Haram insurgents, normalcy is expected to return to most part of the northeastern region in no distant time. We have to understand the nexus between peace, security, and development. Once there is no peace, there is no security. And once there is no security, there is no development. The level of achievement that we had in Borno State would never be feasible without the enabling environment. For example, The number of houses that we built in Borno State from 2015 to date need not to be overemphasized, because I was the Commissioner for Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Settlement. Under the supervision of my ministry, we rehabilitated nothing less than 20,000 houses in Borno State. More than, what is 20,000? Up to 50,000 houses in Borno State were rehabilitated. Again, the status now is that the major roads were now open. The roads between Maiduguri to Damasak was open. The road between Maiduguri to Mongono was open. The road between Maiduguri to Gwadha is open. Few days ago, just 2 months ago, we completely reopened one of our biggest route, which is Banki-Bama Road. Banki-Bama Road will pass through, will go up to the Republic of Cameroon. I was in Banki a few months ago. I hope you have noticed my presence in a market at 12 midnight in Banki. This wasn't possible before. Again, recently we have opened another market in Damasak. We have opened another market in Gubio. Mongono market is also open. Most importantly, the relocation of the internally displaced persons need not to be overemphasized. These are all as a result of milestone achievement recorded in the areas of security in Borno State. Yes, I'm not saying that the security challenges is over, but this will not be possible without effective collaboration and synergy between the government of Borno State and the federal government agencies. Honestly speaking, the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the police, the DSS, and others are giving the desired collaboration to the government of Borno State. We are supporting them. How? First effort that we did in securing Borno State is through intelligence sharing, which is very important. The community participation is very important. The community-driven approach of re-establishing peace in Borno State has yielded positive results. For instance, we have the district heads, we have His Royal Highness, the Show of Borno, and other Royal Highnesses. We have a local intelligence who normally provide feedback mechanism to the government, to the military, with a view to addressing the lingering security situation in the state. The second effort that we have been making that ensures peace in Borno State is continuous provision of logistics to the Nigerian armed forces, to the other security agencies. I think I will be happy if the inflow and outflow will be reduced to the barest minimal, because there's a lot of distractions. So, this is the status now. Furthermore, with the strong support and commitment of the government, we achieved the following: restoration of significant measure of peace and reduced incidents of the campaign of violence. We have seen in Borno State, the incidences of bomb attacks has been reduced drastically. Yes. For how long? Before then, on a daily basis, we have been witnessing bombings throughout Borno State. But this has been reduced by about 80%, if not more than 90%. Reconstruction of lives and livelihoods embarked upon relentlessly. Over 5,000 physical infrastructure built by the state and federal government. Partnership with international community helped to strengthen government efforts. We partner with international organizations. Yes, sometimes we differ in our own understandings, but most importantly, the UNOCHA, the UN agencies, and some international organizations and local organizations have given great support to the government of Borno State, because we have what we call a return strategy. High-level steering committee meeting headed by the deputy governor. Membership cut across different strata, vertical and horizontal, representatives of NEMA, representative of Northeast Development Commission, representative of the DSS and other security agencies are also included. So the role and responsibility of this agency is to ensure that the activities that are ongoing in Borno State are in a coordinated manner. Return of internally displaced persons back to their places of origin where we can guarantee peace, continuous support for the security forces and establishment of civilian vigilantes and hunters. Yes, we strengthen the resilience of the community. The only way you can defeat insurgents is to ensure that the resilience of the community is being strengthened. This is something that we did. Whether we like it or not, some of the root causes of the insurgency are not limited to endemic poverty, pervasive illiteracy, increasing infrastructural deficit, climate vulnerabilities, and increasing poverties. How this thing happened? Bad governance. Establishing good governance is key, is sine qua non to ensuring peace building, social cohesion in any state of the federation. Again, security is everybody's business. You cannot just say it's only the federal government that can provide security. Sub-national governments are also very important. Local governments are also very important. You have seen for how many times I was attacked. Many times. But if you are not resilient enough, you can't. A lot of information has been passing that the governor of Borno State has decided to close many internally displaced persons and others by many different non-governmental organizations. It's not true. The reality on ground is that there is increasing prostitution in the internally displaced persons camps. There is increasing drug abuse in the internally displaced persons camps. There is increasing procreation without care in the IDP camps. There is increasing gangsterism in the IDP camp. Recently, you heard what has happened in Borno State. An aid worker raped an internally displaced person and eventually led to her death. Such incidences are growing in a serious geometrical ratio. We have a very serious problem. Right now, we have more than 500,000 internally displaced persons in Monguno. We have about 300 internally displaced persons in Gala local government, 300,000. About 250,000 internally displaced persons in Goza, with dwindling food supply from the international organizations. What will happen at a later date? That is why the government of Borno State, under my distinguished leadership, with the support of the federal government, with the support of the armed forces, decided to relocate people to their ancestral homes or to local government headquarters in a dignified manner. What I mean by in a dignified manner is under the Kampala Convention. We have never forced any IDP to relocate, but we are trying to provide means of livelihood for them. Continuous dependence dependent on handouts from non-governmental organizations is not sustainable. And that was why we opened Baga. Baga is about 250 kilometers away from Maiduguri. I went as far as Doro to the shores of the Lake Chad. Hitherto, the shores of the Lake Chad provides employment opportunities to about 10 million Nigerians. The soil is rich alluvial soil. Nutrient is not a limiting factor there. Water is not a limiting factor there. Last year, what has happened? Look at it. We resettled people back to Baga. It's now about 1.5 years. Nothing has happened to them. But on my way to Baga, 30 of my policemen were killed. When I was in Baga, I was attacked. But I became resilient. Because food insecurity is the worst form of insecurity. If people will not have the opportunity to produce, insurgency will never end in Nigeria. Believe me sincerely, I'm not trying to sell myself. If not because of the support from the Almighty Allah that we receive, if not because we develop the resilience of the community, if not because I develop resilience and I pay risks, by now, many parts of Nigeria could have been taken over. Because about 1.5 million or 2 million people in Borno State lying idle, having no access to food. What does it mean? They will join ISWAP. They will join Boko Haram. So we created the enabling environment for people to go and farm. This is the only alternative. And the people go back home. Notwithstanding their own request, we refuse, because in the year 2019, in the year 2020, we felt the security situation is not palatable to allow for their return until in 2021. Strengthening of regional dialogue and synergy with neighboring nations. You have seen I have gone to Republic of Chad. Within the last 2 years, I can't count the numbers of times that I've been there, up to 10 times. And normally I used to go by road to the Republic of Niger, to the Republic of Cameroon, to the Republic of Chad. I go by road most of the times. Provision of shelters and rehabilitation of vulnerable, improving service delivery directly to the beneficiaries. You have been seeing me providing food and non-food items directly, because monitoring and evaluation is very essential for any government to succeed. Why people voted for me? I can't say I'm the governor of Borno State sitting down in an office with air conditioning, while over 2 million people, Nigerians, 2 million Borno State indigents are in a very bad shape. So there's nothing wrong for a governor to go to local government areas. I've been sleeping outside, not even inside rooms. So these are some of the successes that we have recorded. Functional primary and secondary health facilities. We build many primary schools. Whether we like it or not, there is a need for us to address the lingering problem of infrastructure. Education is key. How many schools have we built? We built 20 megas, more than 20, about 25 mega schools that has the carrying capacity. None of the schools has carrying capacity of less than 2,000. In addition to this one, we rehabilitated hundreds of schools, improved access to education, especially technical and vocational education. I've been saying it time without numbers, that one of the major problems that we're having in Nigeria, in our educational system, are two of the major problems are as follows. One, the mismatch between the products of our school and the labor market, which is very important. And then two, the mismatch between our institutions and the industries. These are very critical issues that we need to understand. So government of Borno State decided to build state-of-the-art facilities, build and provide state-of-the-art facilities in some vocational training centers. I built about 6 technical schools. I stopped building secondary schools. There's no way. There's a lot of things happening in Nigeria. You can see some organizations, I don't want to mention them, that they are used to train carpenters in 2 weeks, giving them certificates, electricians in 10 days, tailors in 3 weeks. Nigeria will never become a Nigeria unless we go back to the drawing board. They are just collecting money. So, Borno State government decided to establish sustainable technical and vocational education. You can go and see what is going on in Borno State. Right now, I'm building more. Again, support economic growth through non-interest grant to SMEs and farm inputs for farmers. We have been providing it. As I told you, we resettled more than 18 communities. Nothing has happened to all these communities that we have resettled. From beginning to death, this is an indication that we are achieving a lot. We developed a 25 years development plan and 10 years strategic transformation initiative that is guiding our investment and tracking our progress. Our vision is a secured, competitive agribusiness and commercial hub anchored on prosperous, dignified people, and sustained development. In 10 years, we plan to have a self-reliant Borno with over 70% productive population by 2030. Under this administration, The federal government has provided 10,000 housing to Borno State. Let me also use this opportunity to commend the efforts of NEMA, Custom Services, Kakobit Committee, Northeast Development Commission, and Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs in providing food and non-food items to our IDPs. Huge quantum of food has been delivered to the people of Borno State. Stability is very important, without which we can't. Again, as I told you, we built about 432 classrooms and 242 watch facilities. You have heard a lot. Within the last 2 years, we provided over 560 projects. We recruited about 1,000 health personnel, constructed 24 new roads, including flyovers in Maiduguri, 18 existing roads in rehabilitation. Most importantly, there is something that this administration did to Borno State that will go a long way in reducing the insurgency. The federal government has approved for the reconstruction, for the construction of Bama Banki Road, Dikwa Gamborungala Road. These are the two major roads that can improve the economic well-being of the people of Borno State under the tax credit scheme. Dangote will do it, and we remain eternally grateful. We built about 779 boreholes. All these figures that I'm saying, if anybody has any iota of doubt, we are ready to provide the coordinates of these projects that we did. Again, in farming communities, areas under cultivation were increased by about 700%. Then, the most important thing that I want you to understand is that these farming activities is very important. You can leave Maiduguri now, up to Baga, you can see people farming. We embark on serious irrigation activities also, supporting the farmers. We supported nothing fewer than 20,000 heads of household by providing them with irrigation equipments. All these achievements could never be feasible without the support of the federal government, without the support of the Nigerian Armed Forces. We remain eternally grateful to all of them. On the voluntary return of internally displaced persons, I think this is something which is very important that we say it so. But the requirement for resettlement are as follows. Location, security clearance by military commandant. First of all, we do use to receive clearance by military. We provide housing, either transition shelters, permanent or rented homes. Health facility appropriate for the population. Safe drinking, school, police station or police post, marketplace, traditional rulers resource center, civil defense officers, establishment of civil authorities, police officers, teachers, healthcare providers, nurses, midwives, community centers, solar electricity, places of worship, free access and movement, market relevant skills and livelihood plan for youth and women in particular. All these are conditions for return. We are very we are not mindful. So all these are factors that were considered before returning back people. Let me use this opportunity to also mention one very important thing. The committee that has been established, that was inaugurated by Mr. President yesterday, is one of the most important committees. Committee on Repatriation and Resettlement of Internally Displaced Persons. This committee will also look into the management of the defectors. This committee is headed by the Vice President, while I'm the Vice Chair. The membership drawn from all organizations, especially Army, Police, Northeast Development Commission, Humanitarian, among others. And most importantly, the governors of Adamawa, Gombe, and Yobe State are also included. So, again, we are providing houses to the returnees. Food and condiments are provided. An adult member of the family will be provided with startup packages. Married women are also provided with packages. For those voluntarily returning to rural areas, access to farming land will be provided also. Children will be enrolled back to school. Stalls and shops will be allocated to community traders Once homes are allocated to a family in a safe environment, they will not be received back into the camps. Families will be encouraged to adopt orphans from the same socio-cultural activities. Challenges. All what I've said now could never be feasible without the support of the government. But notwithstanding all the contributions of the federal government, we still have some challenges. One, I said it even before, that growing number of ISWAP in some parts of the state is a matter of great concern to everybody. Where? In the shores of the Lake Chad. Again, in southern Borno State. Luckily enough, I was told there was military deployment yesterday to southern Borno State to fight the insurgents in the Tambukta Triangle. But I think this is an early warning system. We shouldn't allow ISWAP to grow. ISWAP are more sophisticated, they are well-funded, they are more educated. And we shall do everything possible to defeat ISWAP. Otherwise, what Boko Haram did would be a child play. This is an early warning system. Nigerian Army has to re-strategize and defeat ISWAP. ISWAP will be a threat to the entire nation. Because of the fragility of the sub-Saharan Africa, they are coming from Libya and others, resettling there. And then, whether we like it or not, a few days ago, I've spoken something about 2 local governments are still not occupied by human population. I think there is some certain misunderstanding. Some say that 2 local governments are under the control of Boko Haram. No. 2 local governments are not occupied by human population. But whether we like it or not, it's right, because if 2 local governments are not occupied, what does it mean? It means the capacity is not there to protect the human population to go to these local government areas. But we are working with the Nigerian Army to ensure immediate resettlement of people to Malampatori, which is the headquarters of Abadam local government. And again, Gudumbali, headquarters of Mairari local government. We are not saying that these 2 local governments are under their control, but these 2 local governments are not under human occupation. We need support from the federal government to support the relocation of these people to these local government areas. This committee that has been constituted by the federal government will look into these matters, among others. We want clearance of the shores of the Lake Chad. Again, in conclusion, while the challenge of insecurity is being solved gradually, it is not yet over. I said it time without numbers that in addition to what we are doing, I said it time without numbers that there is a need for government of Nigeria to rethink and look into the possibility of hiring mercenaries. I said it time without numbers. There's nothing wrong. America, Britain, many more countries that are stronger than Nigeria do use to seek support outside. There's nothing wrong. Because this problem has been compounded. And it's not easy for us to solve the security challenges that we're having now at the time. While Nigeria is providing a lot of things, federal government is buying equipment, there is a need for us to seek support from external agencies to defeat these insurgents once and for all before the matter will reach other parts of the nation. This is very important. Whether we like it or not, we have an existing gaps that we need to fill it. And this gap by now cannot be filled without external support. While we shall continue to build our own institutions, training and retraining. One very serious challenge that we have, our recruitment process has to be looked into. Yes, you can just say recruitment of army, collecting notes from governors, from ministers, from others, and then people are queuing it. As long as we are not willing to sanitize our recruitment procedures to the armed forces, to police, SS, and others, we shall not get the right thing. These are something that we need to be taught. The bitter truth is better. And then funding is critical. Yes, many fundings were released to the military. Let us investigate how much has been trickled down. The commanding officers are very important. Procurement processes are also very important. Then stronger solidarity among the security forces and sustained campaign needed to finish off the remnants of the insurgents in the fringes of the Northeast is very important. Resettlement needs to go hand in hand with livelihood support. More resources needed to do more for the people. Greater understanding required with security forces to support protection action in places of resettlement and all over Borno. The last but not the least, we must not allow the 2023 general election to shift our attention completely away from the focus on restoration of peace in the Northeast and indeed other parts of the nation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me first and foremost answer to the question of Mr. Timothy from BOA. He said, I've exposed myself to risks. What if I lose my life? You have to think of something very important. Borno State has a population of about 7 million people. The 7 million displaced people is a matter of great concern to me. I benefited a lot from public institutions. My primary school, my secondary school, universities, and others. And I was born and brought up from a village. And I have seen how people of Borno State came out en masse and voted for me during the election. And I was overwhelmed. Yes, I risked my life. But the most important thing is that single life is not as important as millions of lives. My only consolation is that the people of Borno State are so much in love with me. They have a lot of trust in me. When I saw them praying for me, passing by, I used to shed tears. I have my brothers and sisters that are living in the village, in a traumatized society. You haven't seen them. In Mafa local government, my hometown, a day, 100 were killed. I was there. It took us about 12 hours for us to bury them. Even burying them was a problem to us. That was in the year 2014. I felt it is service to the humanity. That is the only thing. And again, I'm a true Muslim. I believe in destiny. That's something that is also encouraging me. It is impossible to question the destiny of God. No matter how strong am I, no matter how weak am I will not die until the time comes. So the best thing that I can do for my people before I die is to serve them well. And I hope somebody will come and take over from where I stop. Thank you very much. The challenges about the mercenaries. While government is not static, government is dynamic. I have no any divergent views with Mr. President. Mr. President can say something depending upon the situation at that particular time. He may change his mind. That does not mean anything. This is my own opinion. That does not mean I have any divergent views with Mr. President. Bangat, 2 local government areas are not occupied. Yes. But we have army personnel in these 2 local government areas. This is something that you need to understand. We have well-equipped army in Gudumbali and in Manupaturi. Unfortunately, for the fear of being attacked by the insurgents, up to now, green light has not been given to us. But I think by now, sufficient success has been recorded for us to ensure their own return. It's more or less an arithmetic that we are trying to do it. And you know, whether you like it or not, this insurgency has a lot of dimensions. We have some economic problems, we have some sabotage in the system, many things, whether you like it or not. So, again, sponsors of Boko Haram, while the mandate of the government of Borno State and the mandate of the federal government differs, I want to stay within my confines as the governor of Borno State, but not as the president of the Republic of Nigeria. But most importantly, those that were arrested as sponsors of Boko Haram Borno State were dealt accordingly. Sometimes, some classical informations are not necessarily being released to the populace. You have to take note of this. And security issues are very important issues, very delicate that need not to be said at all times. Repentant Boko Haram, yes. There is no two identical situations at the same time. No matter how good are we in our intentions to receive the repentant Boko Harams, yes, some may have some certain opposition. But so far, so good. As far as we are concerned, there is no alternative to non-kinetic measures of defeating the insurgents. The federal government has been speaking for them for the last 4 years through the DSS, through the Zulum program. The government of Borno State has been speaking to them. And some of the reasons why we are succeeding in this war is because we decided to approach the political solutions to this problem. We are combining both the political and the non-political solution. Addressing the socio-economic dimension of the crisis is also very important. Yes, this committee that has been inaugurated with our president will look into these matters. But first and foremost, our main concern is to see how we can compensate the victims. We don't want to support the repentant members without supporting the victims. The plans are underway, but again, this is something that we need not to say in the public. If you want me to get more information, sometime you can go to Meduguru, you can meet me in my Abuja. Sustained security, yes, you are right. We have resettled back people. I requested for sustained security. This is very important. Because without sustained security, they will be attacked. If they were attacked, they may join Boko Haram. In Borno State, we are in a very difficult condition. One, if we allow people to stay in the IDP camps without food items, people are yearning for return. We haven't done anything. These people will be supported by ISWAP and Boko Haram. They will now go and join them. This is something that we need to understand. Again, if we shall return them, we shall be very careful for fear of the attacks. So that is why we are communicating very well with the Nigerian Army with a view to protecting them. So far, so good. All areas that we have resettled, we receive about over 90% success, notwithstanding some few pockets of problem that we have. The last but not the least, challenges. Yes, that is one of the major problems that we are having in Nigeria. I've never heard from any government organization in Nigeria that they have funding. Nobody is saying when they have funding, they will say they have funding. Funding is a challenge even in the United States of America. But the most important thing is how can we judiciously and meticulously utilize the little resources that we have? How can we prioritize the little resources that we have? This is something that we need to understand. During my preamble, I told you that the Recovery and Peace Building Assessment by World Bank, UN, and 6 states of the northern Nigeria computed the total lost, damage done, amounting to about 6.9 billion. Out of this, Borno State accounted to about 2/3. This is this whole amount of money. $1 billion. It's not we lost about 900,000 homes. It's not a small amount, but I think with determination, we shall reach where we want to reach, inshallah. Thank you very much. I've said it all, my sister. Government is static. It's not static, it's dynamic. Yes. He may answer me in the next few days. This is a plea that I made. Thank you very much.